Welcome back to NoticeGT. Today for our first story, Porsche has just announced the new Macan, which has now gone electric, so it's even dumber than before. And here it is. To me it looks like an electrified Beetle, but according to the chairman of the executive board, Oliver Bloom, Porsche have taken the Macan to a completely new level with exceptional E-performance, the new driver experience, and a very impressive design. The latter I completely disagree with, but the other two kinda got a point. The turbo is powered by two permanently synchronous motors units, giving it up to 630 horsepower and 833 pound-feet of torque, a 0 to 60 of 3.1 seconds, and a top speed of 161 miles per hour. No one cares about the other one. They will both have a 100 kilowatt-hour battery and will have a new PPE, or Premium Platform Electric 800-volt architecture, which they claim will allow suitable fast charging stations to charge it from 10 to 80% in 21 minutes. But much like in life, you'll find that a charging station is almost never there when you need it. So, for 400-volt charging stations, there is a high voltage switch in the battery that splits the battery into two 400-volt batteries, which is apparently supposed to help it, charge faster? How? I'm not sure. Another way that the battery gets power is from the onboard integrated power box, or IPB, that combines three components to save weight and increase efficiency. Porsche also squeezed out extra miles of range on the exterior with the Porsche Active Aerodynamics, or PAA, with active and passive elements such as the adaptive rear spoiler and fully sealed underbody, which gives this sleek blob a drag coefficient of 0.25. and a WLTP, which is like a standard, of 613 kilometers for the Macan 4 and up to 591 for the Turbo. Inside, two notable additions. One is a 10.9-inch screen for the passenger, which is a first for the Macan, and an augmented reality heads-up display, like Mercedes. And for handling, the Macan has optional rear axle steering for the first time. Now, this is a claim, but apparently the new maps for the dampers will result in a real-world difference from the feel of comfort versus sport. So I'm assuming comfort gives you like a massage, and then sport just like stabs you. For our next story, Nissan, has decided to support the Ride Responsible campaign in 5 European skiing resorts, and in a marketing stunt have created this, the Nissan X-Trail Mountain Rescue. The purpose of this vehicle is a search and rescue vehicle for the snowy mountains, which is why they have removed the rear seats to install a stretcher and have kitted it top to bottom with everything a dog can't hold. It also has tracks. So the idea is that you see the X-Trail Mountain zipping up and down the ski resorts effortlessly, and you wonder how is it doing it? Well, it uses the new eDrive all-wheel drive system, which can change the level of grip in 1/10,000th of a second and can distribute power to each wheel individually based on grip, which is totally 100% original and not like every other all-wheel drive system. But you can see my problem is that it's not like they've given a bunch of these to the skiing resorts. No, they've stuck it in a glass box in front of the ski resort. And the vice president, Coralie Muzi, says that thousands of winter sports enthusiasts passing through the 5 ski resorts will see and understand the peace of mind and poise that the X-Trail equipped with E-Force delivers on the road. Through some glass, surrounded by snow. And to make things worse, Nissan has installed those, when you slow down, it says thank you. They've installed those all over the mountains. This bitch also went on to say that Nissan divides both the ordinary in use of technology and in the role that it plays in society. The only role Nissan plays in society is in the Fast and Furious movies and ultimate drivers that think they have GTRs. For our next story, Pagani has just unveiled the new Huayra R EVO, and here it is. I didn't think it could get better, but it just did. The newest addition in the Arte in Pista program, which is basically heaven. You get to drive Paganis around some of the most prestigious tracks around the world the entire time pretending you're a race car driver. That is literally heaven. But the story of the Pagani Huayra R EVO, funny enough, starts in Nashville with these. These are aero screens for Indy cars, and they are what inspired Horacio Pagani to create a open-top track monster. The long tail comes from the Le Mans cars of the 60s and 70s. Now, the Huayra R was no Toyota Camry, but Pagani claimed that the Evo can go toe-to-toe with the current Le Mans prototype Type 2 cars. The Codalunga Longtail style extends the car by 7.5 inches while also incorporating multiple aerodynamic elements, achieving an incredible 45% increase in downforce and 21% increase in aerodynamic efficiency. This means at 199 miles per hour, the vertical downforce exerted on the car is greater than the weight of the car itself. Up front is a compact and aerodynamically efficient system of air ducts to help cool down the brakes and radiator, along with canards to help increase load on the front axle into corners. The front wheel arch reliefs are designed in a way to maximize thermodynamic efficiency while retaining maximum flow and velocity. And despite what you might think, the open-top configuration increases both front and rear vertical load, boosting the total downforce by an additional 5%. Now, how? I don't really know, but Horacio Pagani seems like a very smart man. And besides the aerodynamics, the engine and drivetrain have also been upgraded. The V12 in the Evo will have 900 horsepower at 8,750 RPM with a maximum torque of 770 Newton meters, which is available from 5,800 to 8,200 RPM, and has a red line of 9,200 RPM. It is paired to a 6-speed sequential 3-sintered metal disc racing clutch with a non-synchronized dog ring gearbox. Was designed in collaboration with HWA AG and weighing just 80 kilograms or 176 pounds. It sits on new Pirelli P0 slick tires, being stopped by new CCM-RS brakes that have a 14% increase in the braking area of the disc and pads, and is able to glide through corners with a state-of-the-art suspension from the Huayra R, which includes a heavy damper which separates body height management away from the independent dampers on all four wheels, and with redefined elastocomatics, helping to ensure the appropriate response in every condition. One day. Now for our next story, in breaking news, Lewis Hamilton has just signed with Ferrari for the 2025 season, and in an article by Planet F1, it is said to be a $446 million deal. The apparent deal was struck for $87 million for the 2025 season, with a quarter of the funding going to Mission 44, a charitable foundation, with Ferrari's chairman John Elkann having offered to create a joint investment fund worth $272 million with Ferrari's parent company Exor, where Hamilton would be an ambassador. Now you may be wondering how he's able to do this by basically triggering a break clause in his contract with Mercedes that he just signed in 2023. Now you might be wondering the same thing that I am. Why? Well, it's hard to tell because Hamilton has had a connection with Mercedes since he was 13, but if this is how he thinks he can win, then well, more power to him. The 2024 season is going to be a little awkward at Mercedes, especially since they denied his request to be a continued ambassador. But you see, this is why Ferrari doesn't have to care about its customers. Because it's Ferrari. But at least the charity is getting funded. I hope. Now for our final story, have you ever heard of a tank turn? Well, it's basically when a tank turns in a circle by having the left and the right tracks spin in opposite directions. An electric car can do the same thing, and Mercedes has coined the term G-turn for the ability for the EQS Mercedes to be able to spin in place, as you can see by this demonstration at CES. That's kind of cool, but if you will notice, they're doing this on a wet road. The other demonstrations are on sand, so please don't do this on a dry road or you will fuck up your threads. That being said, I think Mercedes are very interesting cars now. Although, I wonder how it's going to be in like 20 years from now when like my kid is buying a Mercedes, because there was always that one kid that had the S-Class. So is there going to be that one kid that has the EQS that can just spin in place? Well, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you liked. Please subscribe, please comment, please share, and peace.